Hey there everyone, this is Joe from Bullion Now, bullionnow.com.au, selling you the best bullion bars and coins shipped to you worldwide from Melbourne in Australia. This is your weekly precious metals technical analysis. It's where we take a look at the big four: gold, silver, platinum and palladium. It happens to be Thursday, the 18th of July 2019 in Australian time. That is, of course, head over to bullionnow.com.au. I promise the website is coming very, very soon. Here's our email address. Here's our in-store address. Come and buy over the counter, and of course, call us Australia-wide. If you're not subscribed to the channel, I don't know really how you're seeing these videos unless it's a bit of organic searching. Probably is actually. Too, but why wouldn't you just hit the big red subscribe button right there? Join the family, 290 subscribers as of right now. Instagram.com/bullionnow. We've hit over the 3,000 mark. Thanks to all the followers. You've been very nice, lovely, wonderful people, each and every one of you. So let's start with gold. This market is crazy. And it's crazy good. I'm loving it. It's fantastic. It's just up and down and, you know, all over the shop. A little bit volatile. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, that's where we were. Right about here. I think last week I was giving a 51% bias to the upside, that we would see some higher prices. But in the last 7 days, we've seen, it's just been crazy. It's been great. Back down to... just about 1,400, and then overnight, last night, we had a rise all the way up to a whole $30 overnight. So we're back up to 14. We went back up to 1430 US dollars. That is, we always talk in US dollars when we're doing our analyses, and right back down now at the moment at about 1423. So I think definitely I'll show you when we punch out to the weekly. Actually, let me go back to the daily, because we can easily see now we're out of that symmetrical triangle that we had been talking about last week. So we've definitely broken out of there. What you would, if we're moving higher from here, what you would potentially see is a little retracement back to almost to where we are, to be honest. Maybe touching the 18 average of highs. This blue line right here is the 18 average of highs, maybe touching that, or even just coming back to touch this downtrend line right here, somewhere in between there and there. That, for a healthy move, you want to come back and then just keep going on your merry way. The more we knock on this door right here, and we have pierced it a couple of times, but the more you knock on it, the more likely it is you will break through it. But more likely it's about knocking on this resistance level, which has been a level twice recently on the daily time frame of about 1440. So I have a feeling the next time we come up to here, I think it will be broken through. So I'm going to make that small prediction. Doesn't mean the price is going to go there. That's, of course, my non-financial advice. But the next time we come up here to test it, I think third time is a charm on this particular time around. So I think if we hit it, we might hit and break 1440. If it does break down from here, what are we looking at? If we break down further, we would be back in this triangle trading range right here. You could see it come back down to the 18 average of lows right here. That's this blue line, but we might just continue to bounce in and out, although we have broken through it. So I do think higher prices from here are coming. 51% chance at this stage, but let's punch out to the weekly and see if we get a better picture. See, that's looking pretty good in my book. I'm going to now actually get rid of this because it's becoming a little bit irrelevant. I can always draw it back in later on. So this is on the weekly time frame, looking like, to me, a good setup. I like that. I think we're heading higher from here. Again, just a 51% chance. You know, I don't like to be it's definitely going to X guy, but looking at that, I think, this is on the monthly time frame right now, we have room to move up before we come back down, and we will come back down eventually, but room to move up. Moving up from here, the next level, and I've talked about these a few times, definitely the next level, I would say the next major level. Yeah, of course, it's this one here, as I mentioned before. That's the $1,500 psychological value. If that is not a psychological value, if that's not in play, which I think it might be, but you never know, the next one is here at the 1525 level. So could see a move up to 1500, between that and 1525 before we come back down. So that's gold on the weekly, moving back down from here. If this is a fake out, I may have mentioned, let me get rid of that, may have mentioned we could come back to visit back down here again at your 1375 level. Moving further down from here, you'd be looking at bumping up against this little trend line right here, and that's if it was to do it in the next month, then you'd be looking at a price of about 1325. Moving down further from here, you could be looking at the 18 average of lows on the monthly time frame, and that's hovering at about right now. If it was there, you'd be looking at about sort of 1275, but that's, yeah, I don't think we're heading in that direction. So I do think we are 51% biased to the upside at the moment. That is gold. Let's go straight to silver. Silver is having a nice little breakout as well. Silver right here. Now last week, let's go back to the daily. Last week I had been talking about these two areas of potential resistance right here at $15 roughly 90, and this level here of about $16.20. As you can see, it's in over those two spots here, and actually here as well. And I'm pretty sure, you can go back and check me, but I'm pretty sure this is almost word for word. You may see the price come up to anywhere between here and here before you see a reversal. So we certainly did and have come up so far. We're right in the pocket of between here and here. There is the potential to test here once more before we have a retracement, and we will have a retracement at some point on the daily time frame. Again, on the daily time frame, so for example, if we came back up to $16.20 and then had a slight retracement, it might come back down to say the $15.80 mark, and then we might be back on our way up. And I think that because when you take a look at the weekly, and actually more so the monthly time frame, so I'm going to go straight out, I'm going to ignore the weekly and go straight to the monthly. So have a look at this. I like this setup. High of 50 all the way down to that 1360 mark, back up in July of 2016, 3 years ago, dudes and dudettes, 3 years ago, where we hit the $21.50 mark, roughly $21, been tracking down. And if we're on our way, it looks like if we break through here, we're heading up further. So you can definitely see on the monthly, we're definitely moving in the right direction. If we were heading down, what I would have seen, or I would have, what's the word I'm looking for? If we had been moving down, I wouldn't have seen it move up this high, up to almost this $16.20 level. I would have seen it maybe hit the 18 average of highs right here on the monthly, and then continue to track down. But we've broken through, and relatively significantly through, the 18 average of highs, again this blue line, and this is on the monthly time frame, not on the daily or the weekly, obviously. Let's have a look at the last time in which we significantly broke through. How long ago was it since we significantly broke through the 18 average of highs? Well, you can take, we had a little pierce right here. I wouldn't call that a significant breakthrough. We had look at it, we've come up to it and back down. We've had an exact touch there. We had a slight little pierce, but that is not a breakthrough in my opinion. The last time that we broke through and stayed above is actually all the way back here in April of 2016. For that whole time, that 3 years and a few months, we haven't broken and stayed above significantly the 18 average of highs on the monthly time frame, and we have broken through it now. And I think I would not call that a pierce above. I don't see us moving back down here now this is again in my personal opinion, not financial advice. I think we've broken through, and just like here, since we broke through back in March, April of 2016, we continue to head a bit higher. We did have on the monthly a dip back down, but then we had another rise, and this was this rise up to $21, as I mentioned just before. It's early days, so I'm not going to say 100% it's happening, but the more we creep closer to this 1620, the more we knock on the door, the more likely it is to break through it. And let's have a look. Actually, I'll go back to the daily and double check. Yes, so just like the gold, right? We had 1, 2, and the more likely we are to, the more times we test it, the more likely we are to hit it. As I said, what I could see, potentially coming up, coming back down, and then breaking through. But on the monthly time frame, I don't want to spend too much on silver because we have to get to the other ones, but this is very exciting. I think we could potentially break through this month. We've got, 12 days to go? We could definitely see a breakthrough. Not saying it's going to happen, but we could see a breakthrough this level and onto the next level. Whereas the next level, I think it is right to do with this trend line right here. As you can see, through $8.50 something, through $13.70, and this one. So I think we could come up to here, roughly, and that's sitting at approximately, or if it does it exactly, $17.20 within the next 12 days, or maybe not the next 12 days, that's a bit of a stretch, but you never know. But that is the next significant level, and that happens to coincide, again, we're looking at this on the monthly time frame. This level right here happens to coincide with pretty close to these kind of previous levels of resistance as well. So that's my non-financial advice opinion, and just my personal opinion on what could happen in the next, I'll say 12 days to, I'll give it a month. Roughly, we could come up and test around about $17.20 before we have a little reversal, and we have to. But I think because we've broken up through the 18 average of highs, just like we did last time here, I think we've got room to move higher, just like here, before we see a retracement back down. So that's my opinion. I'm not going to give you my low points because I've talked about where in my previous videos. So just check out the previous videos. I'll put a link to the playlist, and you'll see a link to the playlist at the end of this. Check my previous video or the one before. It'll tell you where I think it could go lower from here if we are going lower. So that's silver, XPT, Palladium on the daily, setting up really nicely for a higher move in my non-financial advice opinion. Been talking about this trading range many times before, this symmetrical triangle pattern. Again, we're just looking at this on the daily time frame. We came up to here, we came back down, we came up to here, came back down. Now we've broken through. We tried to break through up here and had a quick move back down. Now we've broken through. So I think we are now heading up from here on platinum, that is. And the next level is, again, 51% chance. I think the next level probably, and let me put in a little line. Looking on the daily time frame, the next small micro move, I think, will be up to approximately here. You can see this little candle right there, the wick of the candle, and that's at approximately 860. So a move maybe up to 860 before a quick little pullback, and back to maybe this area here at around about 845, 850. And then if we're moving higher, I've been talking about this level right here of 875. And that's going through a number of key points right here, as you can see. Key level of support, it broke down, then it eventually came back, but it was a significant level of resistance. It was a significant level of resistance here, another level of resistance here, broke through, but it was a failed move, so a fast move down to the downside. So definitely right here, 875 will be an area of resistance in my opinion, not financial advice. If we happen to break above it, if it does make a play, it will make a play for this trend line right here. And if it does fail to break out of that, I think you'd see a fast move back down. As I said, oftentimes from a failed move comes a fast move in the opposite direction. So that's my opinion for For platinum, if we do break down further, of course, you've got this level here at 830, and then you've got, as I've mentioned before, this bottom end right here. It just depends where it hits, but that's still most definitely in play. Take a look at that. It's been in play for a while. That is platinum. My bias is to the upside. Lastly, let's take a look at my good old friend Palladium. It's just been on a real nice tear. But what's happening here? Are we setting ourselves up for a potential double top? Possibly. We've talked about a double top in, I think, a video from 2 weeks ago, but let's go back 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we were about here last time at around about 1545. Clearly that did not break down further. Then we had that rise, a spike up to 1606, nearly topping the all-time high of 1615, but another quick move back down. The question here is, are we in a double top? Well, we're not yet, but it's starting to look like a double top formation. I talked about it, as I said, in a couple of videos ago. If this is a top and we start heading back down, then what you would see is, if it's a double top, it would have to come back down to here and break down a little bit before it's confirmed as a double top, and then you'll see a slump right down. So definitely not saying it's a double top, but it's just looking double toppy at the moment, just because, well, it topped out here and then it's just topped out almost near it. So just something to bear in mind. However, with the gold price, that was a failed double top, so that double top did not occur. So could that be the same here in Palladium? Quite possibly. What we might see is a further move down, maybe down to at least the 18 average of highs based on the weekly time frame, and then a bounce back up from there. So again, my bias, I'm going to say, is to the upside for Palladium as well, simply because all the other metals are the same. That's my same bias as well. And I have talked about the levels moving higher, so check out my previous couple of videos for where I think the prices could go from here if we're moving higher. But the next one I will mention is the psychological value of 2000, and you've got some others up here, but let's just say psychological value of 2000 for now. Moving down from here, we have yet to do it, and I didn't say we would necessarily, but we have yet to test the previous all-time highs of between 1100 to 1150. I keep saying that I think that has to happen eventually, but maybe we go higher before we go lower. I don't know. I am not a soothsayer, nor am I a futurist. So I don't know, but that's what I'm seeing happening with the prices at the moment. A 51% bias to the upside on each of the precious metals: gold, silver, platinum, and palladium. Interestingly, very quickly, I won't bore you too long because I know this has been a long video. Gold to silver ratio. Now this one's been interesting. It has been tracking down. Why? Because gold has had a little bit of a drop, and more so silver has had the rise. So when the price difference between gold and silver narrows, so they become closer to each other, you see this number drop right here. So on the monthly time frame, you saw it come all the way up to 93.5 roughly, and we have since tracked down. Have we peaked in the gold to silver ratio? That's a question. Now Michael, our esteemed owner of Bullion Now, he actually did his own little sneaky technical analysis yesterday when I wasn't listening, when I wasn't around. I actually was around, but he did one himself, just talking about the gold to silver ratio, and has the gold to silver ratio peaked. So watch that one to find out his opinion on whether the gold to silver ratio has peaked for now. We have room to move down. Maybe we could move down if silver moves higher and gold sort of stays where it is. We have room to move down again, roughly to this level of approximately 86.5, 87, and that might actually coincide nicely with the 18 average of highs. One day I will make a video on this metric, the 18 average of highs and the 18 average of lows. I just don't have the time right now because I'm just busy serving too many customers and trying to get these videos done in between. And I'm actually really surprised the doorbell hasn't rung yet like it did last week. So on that note, before it does ring, I'm going to sign off. Of course, you do want to hit the big red subscribe button right here. Join the family, 290 subscribers. You can be the 291st. And follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Bullion Now. Website is coming real soon. Don't worry. When it does, we're going to have a big launch thing. I'm going to make a giant video that's going to be balloons and streamers and just, celebrity guests, the whole deal. It'll be fantastic, trust me. So head over to YouTube and hit the big red subscribe button. Take care, and we will speak to you soon.